What's up, everybody? I'm your boy, Jason Palmer, host of What's Up, Cuz, with my real cousin, Coach Lance Irvin. What's up, Cuz?
What's up, cuz? How you feel today?
I'm doing good today, man. I'm doing good today. Boy, we got a lot to talk about. Woo! All these sports started at once, Lance. I don't know what to talk about.
Hey, cuz it gets interesting every minute. It's so much going on. We have the Cardinals. We have my team, the Sky. We have NBA Startup. We have your Blackhawks, which I watched. I watched. Thanks for
What?
helping your cuz. You know what? I started to put my jersey on too today, but I went with the Brick Irvin volleyball shirt today.
Hey, you got to
Shout out
represent
to
your
your
daughter.
cousin.
Nothing wrong with that,
Shout,
man. Oh, man. Well, thanks to all of you who are joining us on YouTube, if you're looking at us on Facebook Live. But remember, download that app. It's Sports Zone Chicago. You can download it on Amazon. You can download it on iTunes. You can get it on Google Play. All right. If you're also watching us on blackvibes.com, we appreciate that as well. We got so many ways you can tune into the show and just a lot of stuff going on today. And usually Lance and I start by insulting each other and just talking stuff. But we can't do that today because we got a special guest who's coming on early. So I got to save my insults to the second part of the show. Is that all
I'm
right
not going
with
to get
you?
started. I'm not going to get started with you today.
Okay, don't get started with me.
I should, but I'm going to hold off like an older cousin should. I respect my younger cousin today.
Good.
But you know what
good.
your jersey is? Nice. That's a nice Blackhawks jersey today.
I appreciate it. Well, let's get to our first guest because this brother is busy. He is busy and he is doing one heck of a job. He's joining us from Florida, down in the Wubble. He is the general manager and head coach of our Chicago Sky, our first place Chicago Sky. Coach, James Wade. James is here. Where is he? There he is. What's up, Coach?
What's up, Coach?
Doing?
Man, great, Coach. How are you? You're doing a great job, by the way, and thanks for being on the show.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It's been kind of wild, but you know, we hold head of water and trying to put some good basketball out there.
Coach, you got 2 days off here for the first time this season. Your team is currently 3-1. How do you feel about your team after these first 4 games?
I feel like we're coming together. One of the big things for us is that, you know, we're dealing with the injury bug a little bit with Stephanie being out. So we want our players to kind of, you know, find themselves and, you know, take the added responsibility and just run with it. But that's, you know, that's a challenge. I think every team is going to be challenged with that at one point or another. It's good to, you know, deal with this early and see how our team responds. But we're doing fine. You know, 3-1 is good. You know, we have the advantage as far as being in first, and you know, hopefully we can respond with a good game against Dallas.
Yeah, I know you've got the Wings coming up here tomorrow. Also got the injury report list today, and I didn't see one person's name on there who has been on there from the beginning of the season, and that's our favorite guard from Texas A&M. Are we getting someone back, Coach?
Yeah. So, you know, Sydney was in her first practice today. It was really good. She went through a few days of quarantine. So she looked good, you know, to be off so long. And that's just an added boost to the way we want to play. You know, she's a speedy guard, quick guard, great leadership coming off the bench. So, no, it's good. It's good to have her here, you know, and that's going to add to our rotation. So we were anxious about getting her here. Now she's here, and to actually see her in the Sky gigs actually exciting for all of us.
Coach, I've been following you. Like I said earlier, you've been doing great from one coach to another coach. Let me ask you a question. How have you been able to rest up and do other things? Because when we always talk to our players, we always saying, you know, it's a short season. You need to get your rest. You need to be mentally and physically ready to come out and play. But rarely do people ask, what do coaches need to do? So could you explain to me, what are you doing so you can stay physically healthy and mentally healthy?
Well, you know, that's what people have been asking me a lot. I've been like watching a lot of video of games, and I know at some point I'm going to run into like a wall because there's so much basketball going through my head. But right now I'm okay. I think at some point I'm going to have to just shut it all down I guess, on an off day and watch movies or, go bike riding or doing something like that. Right now, it's still fresh, where basketball is the only thing that, I'm thinking about. But I haven't ran into that wall yet, but I know it's coming. So I know it's coming, but right now it's still early. And I'm just so focused on trying to get us to where we need to be, that I haven't taken a break yet. But my wife is kind of warned me, like, you better be careful. So I know it's coming. So I have my Apple movies, waiting to be watched. And but it's not time yet. It's not time.
Make sure you listen to the wife, Coach, because you remember happy life.
That's right.
And your wife can play too. Your wife can play the game. So make sure you listen to her. But Coach, I think down the stretch, and I'm gonna say we because I'm a Chicago Sky fan.
Hey, it's we man.
We have had some great games and some tight games down the stretch. I think your play calling has been great. And when you played the other night, when you went to Parker, you shocked me on that. What was your mindset about going to Parker down the stretch? Did you like the matchup? What did you see?
Yeah, well, we like Parker. We think that, she's an underrated player, underrated talent. The play was it was a read to the other side. And so she read it. And she read it correctly because they actually junked it up on one side. And we thought that she had an advantage. I mean, she has a high skill set. And the thing that she's added to her game this year is the 3-ball and the ability to play make. And the fact that we have 5 playmakers on the floor, it gives us an added advantage,
Truthfully, I'm a little mad at you because when I watch you play, I wanted to go out and find me 5 playmakers too, which I went out and found some more. Because I think you do a great job because you have length. And I know that you have length, you have 2 at every spot. When you built the team, were you trying to find length to everything? Because you have length, you have size, you have veterans, and you guys shoot the crap out the basketball. I think you shoot like 39% from the 3-point line. So when you put the team together, knowing you probably were a shooter too. Yeah. I didn't see you play, but you probably was a shooter too. But was those some of the things that you had in mind?
Yeah, like we wanted players. Of course, you always want athleticism, but we wanted players that can shoot and players that can pass. And I think if you cover all those, if you cover all those bases, then you're good. Gabby has an improved 3-ball. Cheyenne, we encourage her to shoot the 3. But that length and size, that athleticism on the wings on down is very vital, to be able to defend multiple positions and things like that and just bother players. Like, it's really important, man, and especially where you see basketball going now. So that's what we wanted. We wanted that size. We wanted that size and be able to shoot the ball.
Once again, everybody, we're being joined by the general manager and head coach of the Chicago Sky, James Wade. He does double duty. I'm gonna start calling you double duty James, man. Coach, talk to me a little bit. We got the bright new shiny toys, and we're always talking about them. But I think an underrated part of your team, but a big core of your team, is in Quigley and Vandersloot. Those veterans, especially at the guard position. Talk to me a little bit about those 2 players in particular.
The fact that they, the experience goes without question, but the fact that they read and react so well, especially when they're very good at execution. I think that's when you have young players. Sometimes, young players. Sometimes you want them to do things, and if they can't get what exactly you need to get done, they don't know where to go next. And so you can give them some things to do, and they read and react, and they do things off of it. They play so well together. And they both can shoot. They both can get into the lane, and they're smart players. So I think they're 2 players that have been underrated throughout their career. And I think the fact that we're winning games, people are starting to notice them and starting to mention them a lot more. And so no, I love having them because the trust that you have in them is it's just there. And me getting a chance to coach them all season long it's really helpful too.
So, I mean, Coach, I think the Sky was really on a good track when we made it all the way to the WNBA finals a few years back when they had Deladon and Swin Cash and Sylvia Fowles. Then obviously the team changed. It was turned over. There was change. You were brought in. What did you do from a general manager standpoint to try to reconstruct the franchise to get him back to a position where you got last year, where you got to the playoffs, and now this year where you're off to such a good start? What were some of the challenges you felt you had to face and get over?
I think when Sylvia left, it was a blow to the franchise. I think when Deladon left, it was a blow to the franchise. But you know, they had good players, and you have to have, I guess, a confidence about yourself that you're good enough. And I think we had good pieces when we got the team. It's just that now you have to put in the work. And once you put in the work, then that's when the confidence comes. And what I try to tell them is, if our chemistry is good, the only thing we need is our will to be better than the team that we're playing against. You can beat anybody in this league, but you got to want it more than them. And so we had to show them how to want it more and how to want it more together. So you're going to see, a team that has a lot of chemistry, has team goals, that supersede any individual goals. And so that's why you see all the excitement around our basketball, because they see how willing we are to fight for each other. And we have a never lose mentality.
I think too, Coach, like you just touched on, is team chemistry. And watching your team play, I love the way they pass the ball. Vandersloot, Quigley, they all pass the ball. Is this something that you had to preach to them? Or are they naturally just a good passing team? Is it that they care for each other, or is it something that you stress in practice?
Yeah, it's something we work on it every day. It's something that we work on every day. And stressing the chemistry part is like big. Like when I came in, like it's like we're family, and I don't take that word lightly. And we have to really act that way, even in moments of despair or whatever, even in the losing moments. Like, we have to be family. That's a non-negotiable, because we see each other every day. We're around each other every day. And we have to accept each other as we are, and we accept everybody's different. But the passing part of it, I think that goes with the chemistry. They want to see their teammates do well. And with their teammate, you're going to only be as successful as your weakest link. And so we don't want to have any weak links. So we want to see everybody do great.
Sure. Coach, without doubt. From a coaching standpoint, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by James Wade from the Chicago Sky. He's their general manager and head coach of our Chicago Sky. They are 3-1, and make sure you check them out tomorrow. They play the Dallas Wings. Coach, the games this year, because of all the pushes that were made by the players during the offseason in terms of their bargaining agreement, you're getting more media coverage. The games are now easier to find. They're on television. Talk to me just a little bit in terms of how important that is, not just for the Chicago Sky, but for the WNBA as a whole.
I mean, it's very big. It's very big when focusing and actually promoting women's basketball, WNBA specifically, because it's the highest level of play in the world as far as professional women's basketball in sport. And so, to see that, to have, it committed to, the fans, not knowing where their favorite players from college went, or, because they don't have enough TV coverage, is very important. And I think with this, progress that's being made, especially during this pandemic here in the bubble and things of that nature, I think it's only going to go up from here. But now you get to see, it's so many games, like it's so many high level games, the games coming down to one possession, overtime games, and you get to see your favorite players making plays, and you see how great they are on this level and playing against other great players. No, it's only good. It's only good. And hopefully it doesn't take a step backwards if we ever do get back to a original sense of normalcy.
We will, Coach. We definitely will get back to a sense of normalcy. But
I hope so.
I was reading, Coach, and could you talk about the incident that you had on the flight when you were traveling with the flight attendant? Can we touch on that a little? a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah, man. That was a tough incident because, all I was trying to do is put my computer up, and and the lady that was in the front with me, she just looked back at me and just made some snaring comments like I wasn't supposed to be there, or I wasn't used to flying, I wasn't global enough. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, I have no idea who this lady is, and she's talking down to me. She's talking down to me over something that she wasn't a part of. Like, she had nothing to do with it.
What?
Yeah, she it was just a lady in 2A or whatever, and I had no idea why she was talking to me. But when she started talking down to me, I just thought it was interesting. I was like, okay, if you're gonna say that about anybody, I don't I don't look down on anybody who doesn't travel, or who doesn't have things that I have. It's just everybody's equal. It's just always. But to say that to me and to not know me, and I'm probably the most global person she's ever met. And I'm not saying that in a bragging manner. I'm just saying, like, you looked at me and you judged me. And then the stewardess had her back. Like, she was like, yeah, she asked the lady, was she okay? And she said I was being aggressive, and I wasn't. They didn't know. What they didn't know is we were all in section in the front of the plane, in the in the business class, whatever. And we had 7 of our players there, and they all had on Sky gear, and I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't know that I was with them. And when the stewardess, was trying to, when she was dishonest, when she was lying about me to the captain, she didn't know that was my, she didn't know that I was responsible for the players in the front. Like, she didn't know. She just thought I was just some guy there, And so when she said that, all the players, like, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Like, why would you, why would you lie? And so she was shocked. And it was just a bad situation. And when the captain tried to justify it, saying, yeah, something went on in the back of the plane. It wasn't true. It wasn't true. And I had people in the back of the plane too. Like, our staff was spread in the back of the plane where it wasn't a lot of people. And so they knew it wasn't true. And so that was unfortunate. The airline called and apologized. And they said that they would handle it. And they offered me a $500 voucher.
No, they should have offered you a $5,000.
Yeah, but I didn't take it, because my dignity is not for sale.
Right.
So I thought it was, and that even made me even more mad. But I just let it go. I mean, if they told me they would handle it, and so I trust that they would handle it. But I explained the story, but it was really bad. And at the time, I was hurt. I was upset, and it still hurts me. It hurts me to this day. But I kind of hope that they, take this time to actually second guess the stewardess, take their time to second guess the captain, and I hope they actually do something. So they can keep their $500, but we'll just go as it is.
Coach, the reason why, the story, I think, needs to be told. And I appreciate you for telling it to us. You wrote about it very eloquently. And that's where Lance and I have read about it. But I think people are still upset that players are taking a knee and don't really understand what it's all about. And it's incidents like that, which is why people are taking a knee. So for you, this incident happened as you all were traveling down there to Florida to prepare for the season. And then we all know that the WNBA has taken a very aggressive stance in social justice issues. We all are waiting for the arrests and convictions in this Breonna Taylor case, along with convictions in George Floyd as well. But to have that happen to you as you were on your way down there with everything that the team is doing, I mean, how did you spiritually deal with that?
It was tough, man. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, we have a purpose, and so it just hits you right in the face. Like, this is why you have a purpose. And I'm normally a soft-spoken guy outside of the basketball realm. And it just hit me in the face and said, hey, you have responsibility, you have a voice, and you have to make that voice be known and not worry about how uncomfortable it makes people. Because all we're talking about is equality and having accountability for actions, for bad actions. Like, everybody tries to make this movement out of something that it's not. And we've been wrong since the beginning of this society has started. Yeah. So we're just trying to rectify that. We're trying to rectify that. I'm not going to sit back and accept to be treated as less than. And I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I'm just as valuable as anybody else that's walking around this earth, whether they're a star or whether they're poor. And I just feel like everybody should be treated equal, and no matter what their color, race, creed, sexuality, whatever it is, everybody should be treated equal. And so now you see this movement that's like, now people are waking up, and I'm all here for it.
Coach, I'm watching the first game, right? You playing the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
Which I'm a former Pistons fan, right? Love the Pistons. So you coaching against my man. Do you see how my little cousin shaking his head up there?
Really?
He's shaking his head. But you coaching against my guy, even though I don't know him, Bill Laimbeer. And one thing Bill Laimbeer started hollering out, he's crying about everything. He's crying about everything. Coach, do you think you cry about the calls? And I was wondering if you said something back to him. So let's talk about the trash talking between coaches, if there is any trash talking.
Man, I'm not worried about Bill, man. Like, he can be off in his corner. You know what I mean? It's whatever. Like, my thing is, we got to win, and he can say whatever he wants, but take that.
Take that back with you, Coach.
Yeah,
take that back.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I didn't know Stevens was as good as she is. Yeah. And one thing that you've been able to do, like you said, it's about space and doing those other things, pace and space. I know you coached over in Russia and you coached in many other places. Did you learn some of those keys from being overseas? Can you talk about your offensive style?
Yeah, I mean, I think in Russia and in Europe and France, and me playing in Europe for a long time, you see playing for different coaches, working with different coaches, you see different styles, and it kind of molds you into the coach that you are. Especially once you feel comfortable in a certain situation. And so our whole thing was about sharing the ball. On most teams that I play for in Europe, is about sharing the ball. And putting teams and actions on both sides of the ball where they can have multiple threats, having people that can shoot the ball, and having post players that can create off the dribble. And so that's all I've seen. Where you saw those finesse, like Dirk Nowitzki type post players that are really coming into fruition in the 2000s States. That's all I've been around or played with or coached while I was in Europe. And so having that type of style play, it kind of gives you a more multifaceted offense if you have a fourth or fifth player that can actually attack closeouts and come to a jump stop and pass and then attack another closeout. It gives so much space. So when you get a driver like Kalea Copper or Diamond DeShields or Gabby, they're getting wide open layups, So that's what I like. That's what I've been used to. And that's what we look for when we're trying to scout and get players who come in our system.
We got a couple minutes left here with Chicago Sky general manager and head coach James Wade, who's joining us. Coach, for those of us who didn't know you before you came here, what did you think when you came to Chicago for the first time, and has the city kind of grown on you and your family?
I was like, I had friends from Chicago. I had my mother's side of her family. She has like cousins and aunts that are here in Chicago. And so I visited a few times when I was in college. And I was like, I always was a fan of, Chicago, the city. I loved the Bulls growing up, of course. And I couldn't wait to get here. I just always heard about the, crazy winters or whatever, but I couldn't wait to get up here because I knew it was a city that was rich in culture, that had something that you can call theirs, whether it was the food, whether it was the music, whatever it was. You knew that it was a real rich city. And so I couldn't wait to get here. And so when I got there, like my son loves it. My wife loves it. We were excited just to be into that atmosphere, and we were like totally like beat that, we weren't able to be there again this year. But I was always a fan of like the organization too, because you had an owner that really supported women's basketball. So no, I love Chicago, and now I feel like I am Chicago, and I just want to bring a championship to the city, man. I just want to bring championship to the city. So because if we do that, that means we're always attached. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. You'll forever be remembered.
Yeah.
So last question for you here, Coach, and then we'll let you go. Once again, we really appreciate you joining us. And, you've had your 2 days off in a row here for the first time since the season started. So yeah. I want you to be able to kind of enjoy it for us. But, Chicago has got a strong basketball history. We have many basketball players, female basketball players who would come to do the Chicago Sky camps, in the summer and the spring. And unfortunately, COVID has taken that away from them. So for those that are watching, what would you say to our young Chicago female players who are watching the Sky and they're getting those dreams in their head and they're being encouraged? They want to play for their schools. They want to eventually play for the Olympic team. We had Cappy Pondexter here last week. What would you say to those kids who couldn't get into a summer skills camp this year?
The good thing about it is if you can get into a gym, even if it's with no one around, just get into a gym and go shoot and work on your skill set. Or if, let's say you can't get a gym, if you can go in your front yard and work on your handles, just make sure you're getting the work in, because the work is where it counts. And got to understand, when some of the greatest players that have played this game, when they were coming up, they didn't have summer camps. They didn't have gyms. So they worked on it by any means necessary, whether that was dribbling the ball in their driveway for an hour, 2 hours. Like that's how they came up. And it wasn't any AAU or anything like that. So it's ways to get better, but you have to get up and do it, whether that's running down the street with a basketball back and forth, working on your game, where it's throwing the ball off the wall and jumping up and going to get rebounds. Like, it's ways to get better that some of the greats have done that didn't have anything to do with the gym, and you just got to figure out those ways. So it's out there for you. Just go grab it.
Well, Coach, on behalf of Lance and myself, we would really like to thank you for joining us here. We know we're going to have you back again. We're definitely committed to talking about the Sky, and you and your players are welcome to come back here anytime. You continue to stay healthy, keep the players healthy. We'll be watching, we'll be cheering, and best of luck to you as you go forward in this season.
Coach, I am pulling for you, and I think you're probably the best shooter on your team. I'll take you against Allie Quigley shooting any day.
Hey, man, take me, man. I'm telling you, you won't lose your money.
I like the way you talk. All right, Coach.
Coach James Wade. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, Jason. Thanks, Lance, man. Talk to y'all soon. All right.
He's a great guy. A real great guy, getting a chance to cover this team, Lance. So we're getting ready to take our first break. We got a great show coming up for you. Our second guest is the legendary Kenny McReynolds. And he's going to be like, why Jason called me a legend? That means I'm old. But he is a legend. He's Kenny McReynolds. He's coming up right after this break on What's Up, Cuz.